So let's talk about the genetic, son of a bitch, airplane mode, here we go. So let's talk about the genetic natural muscular potential. So this is the idea that there is a point where you cannot gain any more muscle naturally. You are tapped out, you are peaked, you are at the pinnacle of what is possible for your physique.
Peaked? Peaked, D? Let me tell you something. I haven't even begun to peak.
Now, does this exist? In theory, yes. If you do everything optimally for 15 or 20 years, there's going to come a point where the diminishing returns are so diminishing that you simply won't be able to gain any kind of noticeable muscle. Now, you might still gain a quarter of a kilo, a few hundred grams, or even just 100 grams of muscle per year. So it's not actually at your limit, but things have slowed so much that you are effectively at a kind of limit.
Go back to the shadow. You shall not pass!
However, I'm going to make the case that it doesn't actually matter, because 99% of people, in fact 99.999% of people that you see in the gym who are natural never even really come close to this number. So there's no point in limiting yourself or thinking about your potential or your ultimate goal or your limit when you are nowhere close to that limit.
We don't do.
The first factor is priority. Is training one of the top 3 priorities in your life? If it is not, you will never ever reach or even get close to your genetic natural muscular potential. Therefore, it's not worth discussing or talking about, or certainly not worth worrying about. It needs to be in that top 3. It doesn't necessarily need to be number 1 or even number 2, but I would say it needs to be at least in your top 3. If it's number 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, it's just not going to be possible to get results. This is not easy. Building a great physique takes time, and it needs to be prioritized in your life. The second one is consistency. Again, it takes a lot of time, and that isn't just the amount of time that you are training, it's being consistent within that time. By now, I've written over 600 custom training plans, and so I've gotten a window into a lot of people's lives. There are a lot of people who step on the gas, then brake and stop. They step on the gas, they brake, they stop. So they're going 2 or 3 months of training and then 2 or 3 months of doing very, very little or nothing. And this kind of mentality is a good way to go nowhere. At the very least, you're not going to get close to your genetic muscular potential. Taking 1 or 2 weeks off once or twice per year is okay. But if you're only spending half of the year training, you can see some results, but you're going to hit a plateau that you just won't be able to get over. This is especially true if you are natural, because you can't just rely on drugs to build muscle super quickly, and then when you diet to keep all the muscle. No, okay? You need to be much more consistent and dedicated if you are natural. That's just the truth. And part of this consistency is not just going to the gym or training with weights or doing resistance training in general. It needs to be specific, hard, progressively overloaded, hypertrophy-focused training. Okay, if you take a year off and you use only bands, that's not going to be optimal. Okay, no matter what Athlete Next says, bands are pretty much dog shit for building muscle. They really are, compared to traditional bodybuilding training. If bands were any good, professional weightlifters would use them, but they usually don't. And if your training history is like a year of CrossFit, a year of Olympic weightlifting, a year of calisthenics, a year of only burpees, and you're just like all over the place in your training, yes, you've been consistently working out, but don't expect to get near your genetic natural muscular potential. The third factor is injury. Injury is not necessarily inevitable.
I am inevitable.
But it is going to happen eventually, especially if you lift over a long period of time, progressively overloaded, hard, a lot of volume to failure, etc. The type of training that is going to be great for hypertrophy also does come with risks. And if you're going in there every day and you're like, well, I don't want to get injured, and you're sort of like doing light fluff sets and you're not pushing yourself, that's not going to be optimal for hypertrophy. The risk of injury is super low, but you're also not really going to get anywhere close to your genetic muscular potential. Anyone who has gotten great results from weight training has almost certainly had to deal with injury. It might happen to you. It's going to happen to you. I'm going to make sure it happens to you. An injury can disrupt your progress for a few different reasons. First, it obviously takes time to heal the injury. Second, not all injuries fully heal, especially if they are acute ones that are like, your pec snapping off, etc. And third, it can sometimes limit the movements that you can do later. So there are a lot of older powerlifters who can't squat anymore. They can't bench anymore. They can't deadlift anymore. They can only choose these less destructive exercises that are often not as beneficial as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's sort of part of the game. But what you want to do is to limit your injuries and to manage your chances of getting injured. And when you do get injured, to be intelligent about it. Don't just Ronnie Coleman things and push through everything. No. No. Okay. No. Okay, take a step back and realize that injury is serious. And if you want to lift over a long period of time, you need to get very good at taking your ego out of things and actually managing the injuries as they happen. Because again, they almost certainly will happen. Number 4, your methodology. So again, you can't just do like CrossFit training and expect to get maximal hypertrophy. Your methodology matters. It's not just being consistent. It's not just, showing up at the gym over a long period of time, making it a priority or avoiding injury. No. Okay, you need to actually focus on what you're doing, keep learning, and actually apply the principles that are going to maximize your physique. There are a lot of people who put in a lot of effort over a long period of time and don't get great results because their program kind of sucked. And if you're a beginner or an intermediate, you can make good progress on a shitty program as long as you are trying to get stronger and the effort level is high and your recovery and sleep and everything else are on point. But if you want to maximize your physique, the training plan absolutely matters. Now, if you want some advice or tips on the methodology side of things, I would recommend grabbing a copy of my book, Sweat. It is still just $15 and the reviews have been off the chain, so it's definitely something that I can recommend and I think will help you in your fitness journey. The fifth and final factor is location. And by location, I don't mean your physical location, I mean location on your body. So a lot of people maximize their chest growth or their arm growth. Not a lot of people maximize their lower body growth because it's more difficult and a lot of people skip leg day entirely in the first few years of training. So they're sort of playing catch up for the vast majority of their training career. What about adductors? How many people maximize their adductor growth? What about calves? I mean, I certainly don't maximize my calf size, but if I wanted to maximize my overall lean body mass, I would have to train my calves. What about neck? What about smaller muscles like the forearm? What about mid-traps, lower traps, spinal erectors? A lot of muscles just don't get the attention they deserve, and therefore people are shortchanging themselves when it comes to their overall lean body mass. And my next book, which is in the process of being written, which is a very long process because I am very, very busy, is going to be the weak point correction handbook, manual, pamphlet. It's going to be a pretty fucking long pamphlet, but it's going to help you correct these weaknesses that almost everyone has and how to bring up a lagging muscle group. So get excited for that. It's going to be a few months away, most likely. These books take a ton of time to write, but I appreciate the support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Slap around that notification bell. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.